Every time thunder crashes outside, the man strikes the water pipe once. This is the only way to mask the sound and keep the guards above from hearing. This massive pipe is his only escape route. After dozens of attempts, he finally breaks through. Sewage instantly gushes out, bringing with it an indescribable stench. But he doesn't care. He immediately crawls into the filthy pipe, heading toward freedom. Even with the smell of human waste, he grits his teeth and pushes on, because to escape this prison, he has spent nearly 20 years. Andy was young, already a bank vice president, but at the peak of his life, his wife chose to betray him. He wanted to kill them both in a drunken rage, but couldn't find the courage to pull the trigger. What Andy never expected was that someone actually killed them that night. Only a gun with Andy's fingerprints was found. Andy became the prime suspect. The judge ignored his defense and sentenced him to 2 life terms. This meant Andy would spend the rest of his life in prison. On his first day at Shawshank, the newcomers were taunted and humiliated by old-timers. Some even started betting on who would be the first to cry that night. Red put his money on the scared-looking Andy. Red had no idea at the time that this seemingly fragile bookworm would become his lifelong best friend. The warden coldly stepped forward to warn the new inmates. "You put your faith in God, and your ass belongs to me." One new prisoner boldly asked about mealtimes. The warden glanced at Captain Hadley. Hadley got the message and gave the questioning inmate a brutal lesson. Here they had no dignity and realized the door to freedom had permanently closed. After lights out, silence fell over the cells. Finally one new inmate couldn't take it. He cried out, "I want to go home." Seeing the new guy break down, the old-timers gleefully clapped and jeered. The noise attracted the guards. Fat Ass was dragged out and beaten. Violence was everywhere here. To survive you had to be more obedient than a dog. Andy remained silent all night, costing Red 10 cigarettes. At breakfast some old cons were discussing how Fat Ass died before the doctor came in. Despite his own troubles, Andy felt the dead deserved respect. He asked for Fat Ass's name, but was told by an old con to mind his own business. Death was common here. No one cared about dead men's names. Andy gradually adapted to life here. He was assigned to the laundry, but never talked to anyone, until a month later, Andy finally approached Red. Red was an old-timer who'd been inside for 20 years. The man who could get things. If you had the money, he could get you anything you wanted. Andy asked him for a rock hammer, explaining he wanted to carve stones. Red was initially worried he'd use it to escape, but when he saw the hammer he laughed. It would take a lifetime to dig a tunnel with that. Red kindly warned Andy that the sisters had their eye on him, to be careful. Sure enough, for the next 2 years, Andy's prison life became a living hell. The sisters constantly cornered him. He fought back every time but was outnumbered. Though he sometimes fought them off, the bruises on his body never healed. No one knew how Andy survived those 2 years. But if things continued, Andy would eventually break completely. Fortunately, things finally turned around. The prison recruited 12 inmates for outdoor roof work. This kind of outside work was what everyone fought for. Red used his connections to get his friends this good assignment, including Andy. While they were working, Andy overheard some news. Hadley had recently inherited from his brother, but the inheritance tax was driving him crazy. Andy stopped working and walked toward him. This shocked all the inmates. Seeing an inmate approach him uninvited, Hadley dragged him to the roof's edge, but Andy calmly said he could eliminate that tax and let Hadley legally inherit the full amount. His only condition was 3 ice-cold beers for each of his friends. Hadley knew Andy's background, so he chose to trust him. Sure enough, they all got their beers. Only then did his friends realize how amazing Andy was. Getting the meanest guard in prison to buy them beer was beyond their wildest dreams. The sunset on their faces made them feel like free men again. From then on, everyone saw Andy differently. Soon after, the sisters came for Andy again. This time Andy was unusually calm and defiant. Frustrated, the sisters beat him half to death. Andy spent a full month in the infirmary. But soon someone got revenge for him. To repay Andy, Hadley beat the leader into a cripple. From then on, no one dared bother Andy. The inmates respected him even more. Andy asked Red to get him a chessboard, but wanted to carve the pieces from stone himself. Red said at that rate, one chess set would take many years. Andy simply replied, "We got nothing but time." So while working, all the inmates secretly looked for stones for Andy. With everyone's help, they found enough stones for several chess sets. Red also got him the pinup poster he wanted most. He didn't think much of it, just assumed Andy liked the actress. Days later, the warden made a surprise cell inspection. Andy stood with his back to the poster, clutching his Bible. The guards found sandpaper. Andy said it was for polishing stones. Looking at the over. But Andy not only refused to open the door. He turned the music up louder. Finally the guards broke down the door. Andy got 2 weeks in solitary. When he came out he told Red, it was worth it, because music reminds people of things these walls can't hold, things that belong only to you.
What are you talking about? Hope.
He always believed that with hope, you should never give up, so he was willing to try every opportunity. After Andy wrote for 2 more years, the state finally caved and approved funding. Andy built the largest prison library in New England. That day Red, 30 years in, faced his second parole hearing. He gave the same exact speech as before, trying to please the board, but was again denied parole. So he told Andy, not to hope. Hope is a dangerous thing. The root of all misery. It can drive you insane. But just then a young man named Tommy brought Andy new hope. Tommy was cheerful. Everyone liked him, but he'd been stealing since childhood, a regular at various prisons. After hearing Andy's story, Tommy remembered a cellmate who killed a couple and framed a banker for it. And that banker might very well be Andy. Andy was thrilled and went to the warden for justice, but he was naive. The warden would never let him go. He brushed Andy off saying, Tommy's word alone couldn't find the real killer. Andy saw right through the warden's motives. He just wanted Andy to keep being his money laundering tool. Andy's outburst angered the warden. He got a month in solitary. The inmates all felt bad for Andy. But this wasn't the warden's ugliest side. He called Tommy over, pretending he wanted to clear Andy's name. Tommy believed him, and promised to testify for Andy. Getting his answer, the warden crushed his cigarette and looked up at the armed guard. This solitary stint made Andy see the true ugliness of humanity. From the moment he entered Shawshank, he never admitted his guilt. Now 19 years later, he suddenly understood, and confessed his responsibility to Red. Though he didn't kill his wife with his own hands, his coldness had pushed her toward the abyss. But he already served 19 years to redeem himself. Everything should be paid for. After the setback, Andy's face lit up with a smile again. He told Red, if he ever got out, he'd go to a beautiful little place on the Pacific coast. Red thought he was fantasizing about freedom. They were lifers. How could they dream of such impossible things? But Andy's next response became one of cinema's most iconic lines.
I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living, or get busy dying.
Before leaving, Andy told Red, if you ever get paroled, please go to a farm in Buxton. There's a big tree there. Under the stone wall by the tree is a gift for you. Then he left looking troubled. Red told the guys about Andy's strange behavior. Everyone was worried about him. Then one inmate said Andy had asked him for rope that morning. Everyone panicked, thinking Andy wanted to end his life. Meanwhile Andy went about his business as usual, finishing the warden's assigned work, putting the ledgers in the safe with him. The warden told him Give strength to the helpless. Bring hope to the desperate, and inspire thought in the confused.